want to grab your things and leave?
No, I'm not leaving.
So we now have the power
to arrest you.
Okay.
These cops forcefully removed this man from a public street because a bylaw officer lied and said he was obstructing people's movement, and all he did was stand quietly by himself in the corner of the square and having conversations with those who approached him. They told him to move and he refused because he knows his rights. Then they gave him a ticket which he accepted. Right after that, they again asked him to leave, which he declined, and then they threatened him with arrest. Watch out how he did not violate his principles and stood up for his rights even when he was threatened with arrest.
Okay.
Relevant legislation in which I've issued the ticket. Obstructing or unreasonably disturb any person lawfully using a mall.
Okay, so I've been told that my prohibited activity is that I'm obstructing or unreasonably disturbing any person lawfully using a mall. I have absolutely done no such thing. I was standing quietly.
You should get a fucking job and, move on with your life,
Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Example of
I have
that
not
obstruct
done this.
users of the mall. This is because you're in this area.
So this guy that just came up to harass me, he's using that as an example of me obstructing people.
The next step from here
Yeah.
is that we can issue an oral compliance direction, which under our local laws means that you have to cease the activity and possibly move on from the area. All right?
I'm not obstructing or unreasonably disturbing anyone.
All right. So once I move on with the oral compliance direction, this is what it looks like. All right. I'm going to step through it because it's the first time for me as well.
First time?
Yeah.
Really?
I'm very new.
No one's ever had a sign on this public street before, I guess.
They have actually, but.
And how come
most
you didn't
people
interrupt
go
them?
this one.
How
Most
come you
people go
didn't?
this one.
Oh, really? Yeah. So, did we witness that just now, officer? That man came up to me to harass me. He's citing that as an example of me obstructing someone. Did that look like obstruction to you when that man came up to harass me?
All right, Chris. So,
Yeah.
in my opinion, as an authorised person, under the Council Land and Public Land and Council Assets Local Law 2014, Section 59, I am now officially requesting you to stop what you're doing and leave the area for a period of 24 hours. All right, failure to comply with that now may involve the police. All right, and they are authorised, assisting us as authorised officers under the City of Brisbane Act 2010 to remove you from the area.
All right.
All right.
Well, I have not obstructed anyone. So
at this point, I'm requesting you to cease and move on from the area.
Well, I haven't obstructed or disturbed anyone. I stand quietly by myself having conversations. And last I checked, we were still allowed to have conversations, even about an issue that some people might consider to be controversial.
Right, so, we've completed the oral compliance direction. I've requested Chris to leave the area. It's up to him now if he complies.
Okay, so are you going to leave the area?
I'm not leaving.
Okay. So as you've been directed, I'm actually Sergeant Jill Shantle from Brisbane City Police Station, so you've been directed that you need to leave, stop doing what you're doing because you're currently obstructing the mall area, which has its laws that do not permit this activity. Okay, so we would now require you to leave the area. Okay? Are you going to leave the area?
So I've read the law, and I'm being told that I was obstructing people from their movement, which is not true. And I'm not disturbing anyone. I stand quietly, having conversations with people who approach me. And so I don't believe I'm in violation of that.
You are obstructing people, okay? So at this
How am I obstructing people?
It's been explained to you, okay?
Oh, that
So
was a lie, but
do you want to grab your things and leave?
No, I'm not leaving.
Okay.
So we now
Alright,
have
so
the power
to arrest you.
Okay.
So we would much rather just move you on from here and not have to arrest you.
Just the mall area where these laws prevail, you just need to leave this area.
You are welcome to continue their activity outside the mall's area.
I totally disagree that I've obstructed or disturbed anyone. I stand here peacefully having conversations, so. You know what? I'm a man of principle, and I'd be violating my principles if I were to move right now. I appreciate that you have a difficult job. I'm a great fan of police, but I'm also a man of principle, and I'm not going to move.
Yes, obviously she's going to give you a move on, and if you don't comply with that, then you will be obstructing us, and at that point we're going to have to remove you. didn't want to get to that point as well. We're trying, by all means, is to give you a chance of moving around.
So we have the power to assist a official council worker. So that's where our power comes into it now. We'd like to just move you on peacefully, okay? But if you're not complying with him, then we have to, within reason, move you on from the area that he's asked you to leave, okay? If you're not, then you'd be charged with obstruct. It's just, I don't know why you would take that route over just leaving peacefully.
So you're going to criminally charge me?
Yes, but I'm telling you now, no one wants to under these circumstances, whether we're
And so what happens?
against your cause.
And so what happens after that?
What do you mean, what happens after that?
I get arrested.
Yep.
Yeah.
I get criminally
Then
charged.
physically would have to remove you from here. And
Mm-hmm.
you have to, like, I know that you've got your cause and you want to make a scene and you want to.
No, I don't
want to
make a scene.
Well,
Which is why I stood out of the way
yep.
But you
over
live
by
in a
that
mall
pole.
I know.
area which has these
It's a public street.
restrictions. This is a mall area that has its own bylaws that everybody has to comply with. Okay?
Yeah, and the
So
issue is-
we don't have any issue with you going literally
Out of the
100, 200 meters in any direction, and you're all good. It's just in the Queen Street Mall area, they have legislation which prevents this from occurring. I think
And the
we're all-
legislation states that I've been the claim here is that I've been obstructing people.
We've had multiple people come up and complain to us about your sign. Okay?
Well, that's not what the legislation is about.
I understand.
It's
that,
not
but
about
that's why-
complaining about a sign.
But that's.
It's about
he's
obstructing
explained
people.
to you why you've been given that.
So if
I
I had
don't
a
want to keep going around in circles.
if I had a
So I'm
sign
gonna
that
give you a
said
reasonable
Australia
time.
is a magnificent
Okay.
country and that offended somebody, would then I also be in violation of that law?
I'm not going to play silly buggers with you. You've been told.
So it's
everything
only
you need
because
to
of
know.
this message that I'm being arrested
No,
here.
Because how do you know?
Because
if
all
they-
sorts of
how do
people have
you
been here
know
with
if
signs and
anyone
he's never
here
had to
is
deal with
for or
this.
against that sign, you have no idea. He's doing his job. We're doing our job. It's got nothing to do with what you're doing.
I wasn't
It's what your
obstructing
sign says.
anyone.
Okay. He's already explained this to you. We're not gonna
I
sit
was
here
here
and go around
earlier
in
when
circles.
police were here, and I was stood over by the pole minding my own business. He
Um,
then came up and lied
And
and said I was
subsequent to
obstructing
that, yeah,
people.
Subsequent to that, we have received complaints. There has been obstruction. People have approached us. You've seen yourself the amount of people who've been stopped around here, which is causing an
That's not
obstruction.
because of me standing here, that's because of the scene you guys have
That's
created.
what the sergeant has to say. Just
That,
give her the chance
that is
to talk.
because of the obstruction that you are creating. Now, do you have any idea at all?
I did not create an obstruction and I'm going
Do
to
you have
stand
any
by my
idea-
principle.
Do you have any idea?
Yeah, I do.
License and passport.
Yeah. So what happens? I get arrested, I get
So
criminally
we're
charged
gonna
with...
give you a formal move on direction.
So I get criminally charged with what?
Thank you.
What's the actual charge?
Okay, so
As the sergeant said, she's going to give you an official move on direction,
Mm-hmm.
okay, which will be for the mall. If you don't comply with that move on direction, then you'll be charged with contravening that direction, okay? So that will be the charge.
Is that a criminal charge?
What do you mean by a criminal charge?
Does this carry a criminal record with it?
Yeah,
Like, is
that's
this-
not- That's you go through
Or is this
court,
just some municipal fine
you
thing?
go through court, and whatever the magistrate decides to do with that
Mm-hmm.
matter is up to the magistrate.
okay, so acting Sergeant Josh Shantz of Brisbane.
And
City
and
Police
what happens? Do
Station.
I get taken to
Can you
jail?
just-
Mr.
listen to the
Elston, I'm providing you with a move on direction due to your behaviour causing an obstruction to people and interfering with people's business in their area and members of the public wanting to peacefully pass through here. Okay, so I now require you to immediately leave the area, well, I now direct you to immediately leave the area for a period of, say, about 6 hours from now, by which time most of the businesses around here are closed and your conduct is unlikely to cause an obstruction as far as police are concerned, as far as moving you on. Okay? There's your ID back.
And so what happens if I don't move? I go to jail?
So if you fail to comply with that move on direction, you may be arrested for contravening that direction.
And does that involve jail? Because I have a lawsuit against your government
Okay,
next
so
week. I need to be
just need you to move outside of the Queen Street Mall area, which is bounded by. So Adelaide Street is the next main street down there. Edward Street is the next street down that way. Elizabeth Street is this street here, and George Street is the street at the top of the mall. Okay, and that's for a period of 6 hours. Do you have any questions in relation to that move on direction?
So, I'm a man of integrity and truth, and it is not true that I was obstructing anyone. And I don't think I can, in good conscience, yield to this act of authoritarianism when it's based on lies, and
Alright,
I'm not
so
comfortable
are you
moving.
not going to comply with that?
No.
No? Okay, alright.
So-
So,
We're going to head that way then. I'm
Yeah.
going to use reasonable force, whether I need to put hands on you or not. We're going
All
to
right.
walk down that way.
Can I carry
okay?
my phone with me?
That'd be great. Carry your own phone? Great. If
All
I
right.
don't have to touch your things, then that works.
take it with you.
I'm being arrested.
So does that mean any billboard advertising is also an obstruction to the public? Or is it only the ones stating biological fact and advocating the protection of children? The security guard needs to wake up to himself for involving the cops. Wokeness has completely destroyed common sense, and the government entities, and police are perpetuating the stupidity with ridiculous legislation.